Good morning, everybody. Lori Boxer, Wait No Diet Center. I wanted to speak a moment for a few minutes today about a subject that was near and dear to my heart a couple of years ago. When a parent has a high school senior son or daughter, doesn't make a difference, who is very, very overweight or obese, if they, meaning the parents, think that the peer pressure and the teen socialization, which some of us in this room remember, you and me, we remember this. You kids are older, you have little kids, and Mike, you have a teenage son. I don't know if it was the same for a boy as it is for a girl, but I always tell parents that if you think that just that peer pressure in school and teen socialization is pressure, you ain't seen nothing yet. And when it comes to seniors especially, I'm not talking about the waiting on pins and needles for the college applications, the acceptances or the negations to arrive. And I'm not talking about, the social media expectations. This was another one of who has the most likes to determine, one's self-worth and popularity, because all the kids talk about that, how many likes they have and how many people follow them on Instagram and all that. I'm referring to the onset of shopping for prom season, which is right now. It's a big problem, and I see it all the time in my office. The senior prom is one of the most important events in a kid's life, even if they don't think so. Most people will admit that going back from an adulthood, when they look back on it, it was sort of like their coming out party. And it's a really great experience, and for some, for the kids who are overweight and obese, it's a time for them to really worry and feel stressed. I know that most teenage girls, but especially when they're very overweight, they don't feel really good about themselves. They're very anxious that they won't be asked to the prom. I know overweight boys worry that they not only they have to get their nerve up to ask somebody, they're afraid that they're going to be rejected for the prom. And then the biggest thing of all is they really do worry about trying to get a dress or a tuxedo. And whether or not, listen, it's not that they're overweight and the date is the problem. My daughter was slim and gorgeous, and she chose not to have a date. She got words through to one boy that she knew was going to ask her. She wanted to go with her friends. She's been in that school for a long time. They all came up together, and she didn't want to be tied down to one boy in a group. So it's not about that. That's not why overweight kids should worry because they won't have a date. That's not the problem. It is, however, a problem because of going shopping for a gown or for a dress. And the other thing that parents need to worry about, and I wrote these down because I didn't want to forget them at all, but there are several things that parents really need to focus on. And even if you don't have a teenage son at home now, if you have a close friend or a colleague or even a neighbor, someone you're friendly with that you talk about, kids go, how your kids doing? If the conversation comes up, teens right now in the magazines and on social especially, they're all now going to start to be inundated with how to lose weight fast for the prom gimmicks. All of them. They'll be at every magazine at the shop on the way out of the checkout counter. It's all on social media, because I just did a scroll the other day just to see what's going on. And your kids, all of our kids who have some kind of identities on social media, there's target marketing towards their age group. And they're going to start to get all these crazy things and all the youth and all the social channels, crazy gimmick of how to lose weight fast for the prom. Dangerous. And parents need to be aware of it. They also may start starving themselves. Literally. Or eating very sparingly at the dinner table, or when they're home and you call them down to dinner. No, I'm not really hungry. I had something earlier. These are all the signs to look out for. They're becoming desperate, a lot of them, to lose weight for the prom. Those who started their senior year in the fall, right, with the best of intentions to get in shape for the prom. Because that was they knew they were going to this as a high school senior. They were overweight. I wanted to lose weight for graduation, for the prom. Now they realize how quickly the time has passed and how little time they have left, and you may start to see their mood change. A lot of kids start becoming depressed because they see that they've made no accomplishments in their weight loss, and they may even have gained more weight because of it. Then there are teens who have had, I dealt with this not too long ago, who have had eating disorders that they've successfully overcome, bulimia, anorexia, and they slowly start slipping back. into recurrence. So that's another thing that parents need to look for. And also, and lastly, the last point is you might notice that a teenager will start to engage in negative self-talk. Even if it's at home, I can't stand the way I look so fat. They start talking badly about themselves to you or to their friends, and it's something that parents, their antennas have to be up. Shopping for prom is not only for teenagers, it's for parents. Now, I went through this myself. I wrote about this last year for the first time. Last year, it was very poignant for me because it was shopping for prom season. It was 1 year since I had shopped with my daughter the year before. It was one of the times of my life that I will never forget. Never. It was a fabulous experience for me and Sabrina. I used to have these happy tears every time she came out of the dressing room with another gown. She was beautiful, and it was a passage of time for me that my daughter she was no teenager anymore. She was a young woman, and it was fantastic for me. But I will tell you from firsthand experience the pain, the sorrow, and the anxiety of the girls and we went, couture shopping, so to speak. And when you're in a private dressing room, yes, but then, like when you're going for your wedding gowns, you have to step out into a wider, area. Overweight and obese girls, very, very few pickings, very. I saw quite a few moms there who put their best face forward, but you can see the pain, especially when their daughter went back into the dressing room, or there were so few things to select, or they had to sort of get her into something that could not close at all. They could have made it custom in her size. It was an awful experience. So I start telling all parents that come into my office, for example, you really got to talk to your kids now. It's past the prom experience. They're going into college in a few months. And if you think your kid is overweight now, you ain't seen nothing yet. They're going to gain a ton of weight in their freshman year of college, being away from home, maybe being homesick, out of their element, away from their normal schedule. Mommy and daddy is not here. The 3 meals aren't on schedule. They have to advocate for them. There's all kinds of pressure. As I didn't go to college, but you all did. That first year is a little bit quirky. So the point, if you know someone like this, is not to, hey, listen, you got to lose weight for prom. The next thing is coming. It's called college and university. Get yourself into great shape to go away to school, because there's a lot of pressures there as well. And the last thing is, I just want to say one thing, and I do tell this to all the kids that will start. I'm already booked with quite a few people who are graduating this year. When they start telling me, as they will, I hear this all the time, I'm too fat for prom. I hear this even when they're coming in, they're trying to lose weight, and I'm thinking college, I'm even past the prom. You know what I mean? And I always say to them, I always try to remind them, senior prom or junior prom is not about the size of the dress of the tuxedo. It's about saying goodbye, to your high school years. It's about formally passing from your teen years to your young adult or college bound. It's about having a blast with your classmates and your teachers, and letting go with your teachers who you made fun of the whole year. It's about being with your friends who you've traveled with one grade to the next. It's about going in a limousine, many for the very first time. It's about getting formally dressed, many for the very first time. And it's about, I know it was with my daughter, it was mostly it's a teen's first, no curfew, to continue partying all night long, coming home the next day if you remember where you live. And basically that is what prom is about. So there is no such thing as being too overweight to go to the prom. Any questions? No, good, okay.